Post game, it was, I don't know, many of you guys, I tuned out at halftime to watch that Canelo fight. All right, I was watching that Canelo Saunders fight. That was pretty awesome. That was a entertaining fight. Canelo took the W. Great night of boxing in that regard. Broke his face, broke Saunders' face, right? So then I ended up coming back to this game, watching the second half later that night, and then a little bit before I started recording this podcast. And I remember talking about the game on the last episode, and there was one big point, one big, key to winning, if you were going to say. I mean, there's always many throughout a game. You have to do a lot of things right. A lot of things have to go your way. But one thing that we needed to control was limiting the Portland Trailblazers opportunities at the basket, meaning that we can't be giving up second, third opportunities at possessions, right? And I remember early on in this first quarter, that's what it was, because we came out pretty solid. For the past two games, we're coming out focused. It doesn't look like this Spurs team has given up in any way, or they're just not playing with energy or anything like that. Nah, that's not the case. But what did happen in the first quarter, at least, we came out hitting some shots. We came out on fire, and then they came out cold, to be honest. But on the first maybe 4 or 5 possessions, we gave them 2 or 3 opportunities to score the ball, and it always ended up resulting like in a wide open three, right? So, on this game, looking back at it, DeMar DeRozan 20 points, Lonnie Walker, one hell of a game, 18 points, 15 for DeJounte, 11 for Rudy. We're going to get into Lonnie Walker's stat line here in a second because it was pretty impressive. He's been trending upwards, which is a huge get right now for the Spurs. But, on the other hand, the Portland Trailblazers had Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum combined for 57 points. 57 from those two guys alone. Our top two scorers and DeMar and Lonnie combined for 38. So that just kind of goes to show you the caliber of difference, right, between our offensive firepower to their offensive firepower. I mean, from the field, we shot 39%, not all that great. They beat us in pretty much every stat category when you want to go down and look at it. They shot 46% from the field to our 39. They shot 35% from the three-point line to our 26. We shot 8 for 30. They shot 12 for 34. So way more efficient. We did something that we have been doing pretty well, shooting from the free throw line, 20 for 23 for us. But everything else, let's go down and look at it. The rebounding battle, they killed us 63-40. I don't know about that third quarter, man. That third quarter, Nurkic went to work, right? And they pretty much looked for him every possession down the floor, and gave Jakob a lot of problems, gave Drew a lot of problems, right? Assists, they killed us 24-17, 6 blocks to 5. Points in the paint, man. That's one of the big keys for us on a game to game. We're a team that likes to drive and get to the paint, get to the rim, and get some mid-range shots going in the paint when we can. And so we're not on most nights we're not gonna outshoot the other team. We're not gonna shoot more threes than them. Hopefully we have a higher field goal percentage, and hopefully we beat them in rebounds and points in the paint. That is a key to victory for the Spurs. Tonight they had 52 points in the paint to our 38, right? So, it was just, we're not shooting the ball well, so that means that we have to be able to get to the rim and put it in the hole. But when you're not shooting the ball well, the defensive team gets to kind of sink back, protect the paint a little bit more, help, don't close out to shooters so hard. That's my boy RT3. So I'll be right back. All right, so we're watching the game right now, and we're giving up a couple more offensive rebounds, and my little guy, he didn't like that, so he started getting fussy. All right, so what was I saying? I think I was saying about the points in the paint, right? Yeah, so we got to get to the rim. We got to be able to finish. Now, if we look at the 3-point category, the 3-point column, right, because that's another stat that we need to improve on. And whenever we shoot the ball well from 3, usually we do okay, right? That's what we think. Lonnie Walker, though, man. Lonnie Walker was 4 for 6 from the 3-point line. 4 for 6, right? Devin hit 1, Rudy Gay hit 2, Patty Mills hit 1. So, Lonnie hit just as much as anyone else on our team combined. And from our starting unit, he's the only one that hit, right? And that's what makes it kind of hard for us, man, to score. But I'm glad that Lonnie's out there spacing the floor. He's taken that primary role to shoot the ball, and I've been calling for that since the beginning of the season, man. Lonnie had a lot of struggles, and that's because Lonnie has so much in his bag, and I don't think he knows exactly, how to be efficient with every tool he has. So this season, what we actually needed from him was to space the floor. Not that that's all he can do. He can obviously get to the rim, attack the mid range, but when he's spacing the floor for us, we are a better team. We are a way better team. We need to look to get a little bit more out of Keldon in the offensive end, right? DeJounte Murray is going to finish with his average around 14, 15 points, 15 against the Portland Trail Blazers, but 6 for Keldon, 6 for Jakob. Keldon's a guy that we need to score, 14 to 16 points a game, right? Because, when we were beating teams earlier on in the season, that's when we would have like 7 to 8 guys in double figures, right? 7 to 8 guys. And that just hasn't been the case, for a long time now. And Keldon is one of those guys that we need to step up in that regard. Maybe run a few extra plays for him, get him involved a little bit more. Because when he scores 10 to 15 points, man, we are tough, and we're just a whole other different ball club. Now, another big factor in this game were the bad calls from the ref early on, right? When we're talking about in the beginning of the game, Portland kind of struggled offensively, but they were getting all of these calls, man, all of these questionable calls. I even remember Sean Elliott talking about it as well. That he even said it himself. He's like, there's like 5 or 6 that I just don't agree with. If you go back and look at it, I hope the refs got the report on this game and said, man, you guys blew it in the first half. Because we were actually doing well, and we were actually looking to maybe even build some type of cushion there in the first half, because we came out on fire. We came out hitting shots, and we could have easily been up, 14 points, 12 points, maybe at the end of the second quarter. But we gave them so many second chance opportunities, and the refs gave them so many calls to get to the free throw line that it just kept them in the game. And then when they finally did turn it on, that was all she wrote. At halftime, we had given, I think it was either at halftime or the end of the third, we had given up 14 points to second chance opportunities. And then we were down like 10 or 12. So that's the game right there. We take that away, we get that rebound, we go down the other end, and we get a bucket. It's a totally different ball game. So we were playing, we were kind of hurting ourselves in that regard in this game. And then we had a really hard time controlling Lillard, McCollum. Even some of their bench guys like Anthony Simons came in and hit a couple big shots. He finished with 9 points. Nurkic had like 13 in the third quarter alone. So when they actually went to him, he produced, man. He put the ball on the floor, and he had a couple of really nice moves on the block. Kind of took the game back to the early 2000s there in the third quarter. So, they just whooped our tail across pretty much every stat category. DeMar got his 20. Lonnie Walker's trending upwards. DeJounte Murray has been really consistent all year long. And, our bench is not getting it done right now, except for, Rudy Gay. There's a lot of stats out there. There's a lot of stats out there right now highlighting the fact that Patty Mills is probably in one of his worst shooting slumps of his career. And, players go through slumps. We just need Patty to keep shooting and keep being aggressive, because Patty's a guy that we are definitely going to need in this play-in, and then hopefully maybe in the next play-in game to try to secure that 8th spot. Patty's going to be one of those X-Factor guys that if he can go off for 13 to 17 points, we have a shot. But when he's scoring 2 to 5, 2 to 6 points a game, we're in trouble. Right, so that's going to be it from this game. We're going to talk a little bit more when we get right back.